Hey there, and welcome back to my workshop. Today we got a little project. I build guitars, and part of building a guitar is doing inlay work. Now, I used to have a jig for that, and I can't seem to find it anywhere. So I decided today I would make a better one. The one I had before was just a straight board like this with the normal cutout for it, and I would just clamp it down to the side of my workbench. And I figured I'd do one of the bench vise style ones. So I've got a piece of purple heart here because I like to use a hardwood for the main work surface, and then just some scrap pieces of wood that I've got laying around. So this is going to be the stand, and then I've just got a piece of walnut here that I'm going to use to stabilize that piece to. I'm going to cut a slot in my main board here to glue all these together, and we'll glue it up. First we need to drill a hole. So I've gone ahead and I've marked out a center hole from where I'm going to cut that V point out of. Let's move over to the drill press and do that. Now that I got the drill press set up, I'm going to go ahead and drill this hole. I've got a mark right here, and I know this is a little marred up. I'll clean it up in the end, but I'm mainly worried about the main work surface. I put a piece of scrap pine under here because unfortunately I'm never going to use that for anything, just to catch it in the end. And I've got a 1-inch mason bit here, and I'm going to use that to bore out the hole, and then from there I'm going to flare the V out from it. Good rule of thumb when you're drilling a hole like this, to avoid blowout, I would approach from the opposite side once you get it most of the way through. That reduces tear out from the other side, so you don't lose as much of your material. And there you have it. Now that we're back at the bench and we got a hole in here, I'm going to establish where I want to cut that V out of it. That'll give us the workspace to do any cutting on any inlays that we have. And it will still leave this semicircle for doing rounded surfaces. So first I'm going to start by establishing a line on the base of that circle. That'll give me my starting point. And where that line crosses the circle is where I'm going to draw the lines out to the edges here. So I'm just taking my main squared edge. I'm going to find a point at the edge. I'm going to leave a square surface on part of it. So I think I'm going to go in about a 1/2 inch on either side. And I think that'll give me plenty of room to work here. Now once I've got that established, it's just a matter of connecting the 2 points. Kind of like that. Now, if none of you have worked with Purple Heart before, this is a very dense hardwood, and it's very hard to cut and carve through. So I recommend not starting out with this if you can help it, and using power tools to cut through these, because it is a bear to carve in itself by hand. I am going to do it by hand because I only have to make a few cuts. And with that, let's move to the saw. I'm going to use my pull saw. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to start straight, and then I'm going to start angling off. And because this wood is so hard, I tend to go on the inside of my line quite a little bit, just so that I can then shape it out later, so that I don't risk messing up too much of the workpiece. So I've got it relatively where the line is straight in my workbench, so that way I can start off and then tilt. Now that I got that hole through, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. When I use darker wood like this, I like to put a light color on there. That way I can see the line better. All right. You want to work out? Try and cut some Purple Heart. There's our basic shape. Now I just got to clean up these edges and we'll have a usable workpiece. Now that we got it cut out, I got this strapped to my workbench with the side straight, and I'm going to use my trusty Shinto rasp to clean up that angle there. Alright, I think I'm satisfied with that. They're relatively straight. Now we're going to go back to the main bench and we're going to cut out this slot to put the main clamping piece in. Much like doing an inlay, I'm going to cut on the inside of this, cut the waste away, and then I'm going to size it from there once I get the pocket all set. So I'm going to use this block of wood, which has a very straight edge here. I'm going to clamp it down right on that line. I'm going to use that as a guide for my saw. Alright, now we got those two lines established. We're going to cut out all the waste now with a chisel. Got a freshly sharpened chisel here, and hopefully this will be enough to do the trick. Alright, there's a bulk of that channel gone. Now we just have to clean it up. Getting there. Alright, I like the way that fits. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all these together. And then I've got this as a support piece here for the back, so I'm going to trim that to length. And then once we get it all glued together, we can do some vinyl sanding and put some oil on it. So I'm going to glue all three of these pieces together in one shot. Some of you may criticize the way that I clamp these, but all I really care about is having enough pressure on it to hold everything in place. And as long as it works in the end result, I am happy. After all, woodworking is supposed to be fun, right? Alright, now that we got that all clamped up, we're going to let it dry overnight. We'll come back tomorrow. Alright, I've gone ahead and taken it out of the clamps now, and I cleaned up the pockets a little bit off camera. Now all I really got to do is sand it down and I can put a nice coat of oil on it. So we're going to get to doing that. I think that'll about do it. As I said, I'm not trying to make anything pretty here, I just want to make it functional. As you can tell, I've got some drill holes in the top of that. I'm just using a piece of scrap wood. What I merely care about for this, being as it's going to be in tools, I want this surface to be clean and flat, and the underside surface to be clean and flat. Other than that, as long as everything else functions right, it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing in the world. So I think all that's left is to put a coat of oil on it and reveal what it looks like. Alright, big reveal time. We're going to put some shellac on here, and then I think we'll be just about done. I'm going to put a nice heavy coat on here first, and then I'm probably going to do a few more coats after that. Alright, I think that'll about do it. The nice part about this shellac is it dries pretty quick, so I just have to wait an hour to apply another coat. And I'll probably do about 3 for something like this. I do a heavy coat at first just so it soaks into the wood, and then I just do some coats on top of that to make sure that it's fully sealed. And with that, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and next week I'll show you what this is used for, and we'll cut an inlay. Alright, we'll see you next time. You're still here? It's over. Go home.